The strange paradox of aging, you know more, but feel less seen. Have you ever felt like the world has slowly turned its volume down? Just for you. You've spent decades building, loving, losing, learning. You've earned your years. You've gathered wisdom like sunlight in an old photo album. And yet now that you have the most to say, fewer people are listening. That's the strange paradox of life after 80. You're more experienced than ever. But sometimes you feel less visible. This video isn't about fear or decline. It's not a list of medical warnings. It's about the truth, quiet, emotional, human truth. In the next few minutes, I want to walk with you through 5 silent realities that most people never speak out loud, yet many seniors deeply feel after crossing into their 80s. Some of these may sound familiar, others might be new, but all of them come with one hidden gift, the power to connect us through shared experience. If you've ever felt this quiet shift in how others see you, type 1 in the comments. If not yet, type 0. I'd love to know where you are on your journey. And if this message touches something deep inside, I gently invite you to subscribe and turn on the bell so we can keep walking this path together. Shocking truth number 1. When the phone stops ringing, the gentle loss of everyday connection. There was a time when the phone would ring before noon without fail. A neighbor checking in, a friend asking about bingo night, a daughter calling to see if you needed groceries. But somewhere along the way, those calls became fewer, then quieter, and then, some days, nothing at all. This isn't a story about abandonment. It's not even about loneliness in the dramatic sense. It's something more subtle, more quiet, more difficult to name. It's the gentle erosion of daily connection. You see, after 80, the world around you doesn't always fade in a flash. It fades in whispers, in long pauses between conversations. Birthdays missed not out of malice, but busyness, in the way your voice echoes in a room where it used to be answered. A woman I once met, her name was Dorothy, said something I've never forgotten. She said, "It's not that I'm lonely. It's just that there's no one left to finish my sentences." That sentence broke me a little. Because it's not about needing crowds. It's about craving familiarity. The kind of connection where someone knows your tone before your words. The kind of silence that still feels full because it's shared. But here's the beautiful part. Even when the calls slow down, the connection doesn't have to disappear. We can shift how we connect. We can write letters, send voice notes, even wave at neighbors through a window. Most of all, we can reconnect with ourselves. Because sometimes the phone doesn't ring. Not because no one cares, but because the world has moved faster than it meant to. And in that pause, there's an opportunity to turn inward, to write your story, to reflect, to reach out, not always waiting, but also initiating. So today, if you're listening and thinking of someone you miss, don't wait for the ring. Be the ring, because you still matter. Your voice still softens hearts, and someone, somewhere, will feel more alive just by hearing from you. But while the silence outside grows louder, there's also a shift happening inside in the way we experience time itself. Shocking truth number 2. Time feels different. Now the days are long, but the years fly by. There's a quiet change that happens as we get older, so quiet, we barely notice it until it's already shaped our entire experience. Time shifts. It used to move with structure, appointments, plans, family events, goals. Now, it moves more like breath, sometimes slow and still, other times vanishing before we can grasp it. After 80, many people begin to feel this strange relationship with time. Mornings seem longer, yet entire seasons pass in a blink. There are hours that stretch on, especially in solitude, while the years seem to collapse in on themselves. This is not a flaw in memory, nor a problem to fix. It's simply a natural shift in perception. As our pace slows, our awareness changes. The outer world may become quieter, but the inner world begins to speak more clearly. We recall more, feel more, Notice more, especially in the small, quiet spaces that used to rush by unnoticed. It's easy to feel disoriented in this new rhythm. One may begin to question where all the time has gone, or why it feels so different now. But this phase isn't about losing track. It's about experiencing time differently, more richly, more reflectively. This new sense of time can carry both grief and grace. Grief for the days that no longer follow familiar patterns, for the calendar that's grown less full, for the fading of routines that once anchored us, but also grace for the deeper presence we now bring to even the simplest moments, for the pause between thoughts, for the ability to feel the warmth of a teacup or the softness of afternoon light without rushing past it. The beauty of this phase is that we no longer have to race through our lives. We are no longer measured by how much we accomplish in a day, but by how deeply we live each moment. And that is not less than before. In many ways, it's more. Because now, life is not about motion, it's about meaning. And when we allow ourselves to sit inside the rhythm of the moment, not trying to speed it up or slow it down, we start to feel a different kind of richness. One that comes not from doing, but from simply being. So if time feels strange to you these days, slippery, slow, or somehow both, know that you're not imagining it. This is one of aging's quieter gifts, a chance to experience time with gentleness, not urgency. But even as we learn to embrace time with new eyes, another shift appears, this one more physical. The body, once so familiar, now asks to be known all over again. Shocking truth number 3. When strength isn't steady, living with an unpredictable body, there comes a point quietly and without warning when your body no longer behaves the way it used to. You wake up one morning and something feels slightly off. Your steps are slower. Your balance feels different. Your hands hesitate in small, unexpected ways. It's not a sudden breakdown. It's not an illness you can name. It's the gentle unreliability of a body that once felt like a trusted partner and now needs more attention. After 80, many people begin to feel this subtle shift, not weakness, but unpredictability. It's not just about what hurts. It's about not knowing what your body will feel like tomorrow or even later today. Some days the mind feels sharp, the legs steady. Other days, for no clear reason, everything feels just a bit more fragile. This inconsistency can feel unsettling, especially if you've spent a lifetime being active, independent, in control. There's a quiet grief in realizing that even routine movements now require more planning, more caution, more rest. And yet, this phase of life invites a new kind of relationship with the body, not one of command, but of compassion. Rather than expecting the same energy every day, we learn to listen, to move slower, to give more time between tasks, to allow the body to show us what it needs, instead of pushing it to meet our expectations. This doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing to cooperate with your body, not fight against it. Yes, it takes patience. Yes, it takes humility. But in that patience, something unexpected appears, a deeper trust, a different kind of strength, one based not on performance, but on awareness. Aging in this way isn't about defeat, it's about adjustment. It's the wisdom to pause before standing, to steady yourself without shame, to rest without guilt, and above all, it's about recognizing that you are not broken, only changing. We all change. The body simply shows it first. So when you feel uncertain in your steps, or notice your grip is softer than it once was, take a breath. Give yourself grace. This is not a weakness. This is adaptation. Your body may no longer be predictable, but your spirit resilient, aware, present, can guide the way. But sometimes it's not just the changes inside your body that hurt. It's how the world outside begins to see you differently, or stops seeing you at all. Shocking truth number 4. Invisible in the crowd. When your presence fades before you speak. One of the more painful shifts that often accompanies aging is not the change in your body, but the change in how others see you, or more precisely, how they stop seeing you. You walk into a room, and the energy doesn't shift. Conversations continue as if you never entered. You offer a thought, and it's brushed aside, spoken over, or politely ignored. No one means harm, but somehow your age arrives before you do. It's not just about being overlooked. It's the quiet sense that your presence holds less weight than it once did. And that can hurt not just emotionally, but deeply, existentially, because we all want to feel like we still matter, like our words still carry meaning, like our life experience is not just history but living wisdom. But in a culture that values speed, youth, and visibility, aging becomes something people unconsciously turn away from, not out of rejection, but discomfort, not out of disrespect, but disconnection. So we begin to feel invisible, not erased, but slowly blurred around the edges. This loss of presence is subtle, but real, and it often makes people retreat, speak less, withdraw more, not because they don't have something to say, but because they're tired of not being heard. But here's the truth. Your voice still matters. Your thoughts still carry weight. And your story, perhaps now more than ever, is needed in a world that often forgets how to pause and listen. This phase of life is not the background. It is the vantage point. It's the place where depth meets clarity, where you no longer need to prove anything, but still have everything worth sharing. So if you felt unseen lately, I want to gently remind you, you are not invisible. You are simply waiting for the right eyes to truly see. And sometimes, we have to be the ones to speak up calmly, clearly, patiently, not to demand attention, but to remind the world we still hold the truth. Don't shrink. Don't dim. Let your presence stand, even in silence. Let your story unfold, even when no one asks, because one day, someone will hear what you've carried, and it might be exactly what their heart needed. And as we make peace with being seen less by others, we begin to return to the one place where presence never fades, the inner world of memory and meaning. Shocking truth number 5. The bittersweet company of memories. As the world outside grows quieter and the noise of daily life fades, a different voice begins to speak more clearly, the voice of memory. It doesn't shout, it whispers. In the stillness of a slow afternoon or the quiet moments before sleep, the past comes gently knocking, not to disturb, but to keep us company. And in those moments, we don't just remember events, we re-enter them. A glance becomes a time machine. A scent opens a forgotten room. Suddenly, we're back in the kitchen with someone we loved. We're walking a road that no longer exists. We're laughing, crying, holding, letting go, all without leaving our chair. For many people after 80, memory becomes not just something you have, but something you live with. It becomes a quiet companion. Some memories bring warmth. Others bring ache. There are moments of pure joy that resurface unexpectedly. And there are memories we wish would stay asleep. Yet they return because healing often brings back what was once buried. This companionship is complex. We cherish the memories that keep our loved ones close, even when they're gone. But we also carry the weight of absence. The realization that so much of what we knew and love now lives only in recollection. And that realization can be both beautiful and painful, because it reminds us how deeply we have lived. Memory is not a prison, it's a mirror. It reflects what mattered most. It reminds us who we are, even when the world forgets. It offers comfort when voices fall silent. And sometimes it shows us how far we've come, how strong we've been without asking for applause. What matters now is not to resist memory, but to welcome it with softness, to let it teach, soothe, and even surprise us. To revisit old chapters not out of regret, but out of reverence. To honor what once was, while still finding meaning in what is. In this stage of life, the mind becomes a sacred archive, and every thought, every image, every remembered voice is part of your personal constellation. So if you find yourself drifting into memories more often, don't rush back. Stay there a while. Sit beside the past as you would sit beside a beloved friend. Because memory, when met with gentleness, is not a weight, it is a bridge that connects who you were with who you still are. And in honoring what once was, we begin to see more clearly what still remains. The next challenge and gift is learning to care for it without guilt and to rest without apology. Number 6, peace over pride, choosing rest without guilt. There's a quiet tension many older adults carry, one that's rarely spoken aloud. It's the feeling that resting means giving up, that slowing down equals weakness, that asking for help is somehow a defeat. This belief doesn't come from nowhere. Many of us spent decades proving our worth through action. We worked hard, raised families, fixed what was broken, showed up even when tired. We learned to measure our value by how much we did, how much we gave, how long we endured. But now, the pace of life has changed, and yet, that old internal voice still whispers, keep going, don't stop, you're not done. And so, we resist the very thing our bodies and hearts are asking for rest. But here's a gentle truth, one that many of us need permission to hear. Rest is not weakness, it is wisdom. Slowing down isn't giving up, it's listening, it's noticing. It's honoring the signals of a body that has carried us farther than we ever imagined. Rest is not a break from life, it is a part of life, a necessary, sacred part, and asking for help. That's not surrender, that's trust. That's knowing we were never meant to do everything alone. This chapter of aging asks us to lay down the burden of constant self-sufficiency, not because we can't, but because we no longer need to prove that we can. True strength now looks different. It's not lifting heavy things, it's allowing others to carry what you no longer need to hold. It's not pushing through pain, it's knowing when to pause. It's not hiding your needs, it's being honest about them, without shame. There's a quiet kind of courage in choosing to rest, in admitting fatigue, in saying, I've done enough for today, and meaning it, because you have. You've done more than enough across decades of effort, love, service, and care. Now, rest isn't a reward, it's a birthright. So if there are days when you feel the need to slow down, to say no, to sit in silence or ask for a hand, let that be okay. Let that be holy, because you are still strong. But your strength now comes not from resistance, but from release. And as we learn to release the pressure of constant doing, we begin to open space for something else, moments of small joy, presence, and unexpected gratitude. Number 7, moments that still matter, finding meaning in the smallest things. After all the years, after all the seasons and storms, what truly stays, it's not the trophies or the titles, it's not how busy your calendar was or how much noise surrounded you. What stays are the moments, the quiet, overlooked, ordinary ones that begin to glow more brightly as everything else fades. In this stage of life, something sacred happens. You begin to see with different eyes, not the eyes that chase success or rush through errands, but the eyes that can see meaning in the steam of a morning cup of tea, in the way sunlight moves across the floor, in the smile of a neighbor passing by. These moments aren't loud. They don't make headlines, but they are real, and they are yours. There is a myth that life gets smaller as we age. But sometimes it simply becomes more focused, more distilled, less crowded but more pure. And in that purity, we begin to experience something we never had time to notice before: presence. Not being anywhere else, not rushing to the next thing, but being exactly here, fully, kindly, awake. It's in these small moments that we reconnect with the earth, with our breath, with the people who still show up, with the quiet joy of simply being alive. Meaning no longer comes from how much we do, but how deeply we feel what we're doing. A walk isn't just a walk, it's a reunion with your body. A conversation isn't just about words, it's about being heard, being seen. A moment of stillness is not empty, it's full of everything we used to overlook. Even grief, even memory, even tiredness, when felt gently, can turn into a kind of beauty. Not the bright beauty of youth, but the soft, deep beauty of presence. This is what remains, and this is what matters. No matter your age, no matter your condition, you still hold the ability to find meaning in the now, not by doing more, but by doing one thing at a time with heart. So don't wait for the big moments. They've come and gone, and they've served their purpose. Now you are invited into a new kind of richness, the kind that lives inside the ordinary. That's where peace waits. That's where joy lingers. That's where life still whispers, I'm here, and I'm enough. And when we start listening to that whisper, we realize aging is not an ending. It's an unfolding, a gentle opening into something simpler, quieter, and often far more true. Number 8, the gift of perspective, seeing life from a higher place. There's something remarkable that happens when you've lived long enough. You start to see the world differently, not just through age, but through insight. It's as if you're no longer in the middle of the storm, but watching it from above. The noise quiets, the urgency softens, the need to be right fades, and in its place, clarity begins to bloom. You realize that not every battle needs to be fought, not every opinion needs to be spoken, not every mistake needs to be fixed. You begin to understand that peace is more valuable than proving a point. This is the gift of perspective, not given by books or advice, but earned through seasons of loving, losing, falling, and rising again. Perspective doesn't always make life easier, but it makes it wiser. You see patterns where others see problems. You notice what's worth your energy and what simply isn't. And slowly, you begin to choose differently. You choose silence over arguing, kindness over control, presence over performance. You no longer chase being understood by everyone because you understand yourself. And in that understanding, a quiet freedom appears. The freedom to let things go, the freedom to forgive, the freedom to smile at life's imperfection and say, this too is part of it. At this stage, perspective becomes a kind of spiritual vision, not one that sees with the eyes, but with the heart. You sense what truly matters, people over possessions, moments over milestones, depth over noise, and you know with full certainty that the most important things were never things. Perspective helps you live with less regret because you begin to see even the wrong turns brought you somewhere meaningful. Even the hard chapters shaped you in ways you didn't expect. And while the world may still rush around you, you no longer feel the need to rush within it because you've discovered that wisdom walks slower. And what once felt like a delay now feels like grace. So if you feel the world spinning faster than you can follow, let it. You're not behind, you're above. Not detached, but elevated. Because the long road behind you has given you what no shortcut ever could, a view that sees through the surface and knows what truly lasts. And when we live from that higher place, something quiet and powerful begins to grow. Not fear of the future, but peace with what's coming next. Number 9, preparing for the unknown, facing the future. Without fear. As we grow older, the future can begin to feel less like a plan and more like a question. What will happen next? How long will I stay healthy? Who will still be with me? What will I leave behind? These are not easy questions. They don't come with quick answers. But they do come with wisdom if we're willing to meet them not with fear, but with quiet honesty. At this stage of life, we are asked to live alongside the unknown, to make peace with not knowing, to stop trying to predict every detail, and start trusting the depth we've built within. Because even when the path ahead is unclear, your inner compass has never been stronger. You've survived losses that once seemed unbearable. You've adjusted to changes you thought you couldn't handle. You've learned to carry love and sorrow side by side. That is the preparation. That is the strength. Facing the unknown doesn't mean ignoring it. It means welcoming it with softness, not resistance. It means understanding that some days will be clear and others will be foggy, and both are okay. It means acknowledging that we cannot control the future, but we can shape how we meet it. And the best preparation isn't in fearing what's next, it's in tending to what's now. Nourishing our bodies was soothing our minds, forgiving where we can, loving while we can, being present for the life that is still unfolding, right here in front of us. Because the truth is, no one ever fully knows what's ahead. But you have something now that many never develop, a capacity for peace and uncertainty. That's not resignation. That's maturity. That's spiritual strength. To say, I don't know what's coming, but I know who I am, and I know how to walk with grace no matter what. This is not the end of your story. It's simply a chapter where the writing becomes quieter, slower, deeper, where the punctuation matters more than the plot, and where meaning is no longer found in what's next, but in how we hold what is. So if you feel the future calling gently or with uncertainty, let it come. You are more ready than you think. You've been preparing your whole life for this kind of courage, and you don't have to face it alone. Because in the end, the most important journey isn't forward or backward, it's inward. And from that place, we find the deepest kind of peace. So here we are. We've walked together through some of the hardest, quietest truths about life after 80. Not to fear them, not to hide from them, but to name them gently, clearly, without shame. Because the moment we name something, we reclaim our power over it. And the moment we speak it aloud, we remind someone else. They are not alone. Aging is not disappearing. It's not fading. It's not slipping quietly into the background. It is arriving with wisdom, with grace, with a vision that only time can give. You are not less now. You are more distilled, more intentional, more real. And while the world may chase youth, you hold something deeper. The stories that hold meaning, the patience to see clearly, the courage to rest, the strength to stay present, the gift of perspective. So let's release the old idea that aging is a closing door. It's not. It's a doorway to a different room, one where things are quieter, yes, but also clearer, where the light is softer, but warmer, where life isn't faster but fuller. And from this room, you can still laugh, you can still love, you can still teach, you can still grow. So I ask you, what spoke to you today? Was there a moment in this journey that made you pause, a sentence that echoed something you've carried silently, a feeling that made you say, yes, that's exactly it? Please share it in the comments, not just for me, but for the others who are reading quietly, curiously, maybe even tearfully. Your words may be the very comfort someone else didn't know they needed. This space, our space, isn't just about information. It's about recognition, about feeling seen, heard, about reminding each other that even in this season, we still belong. We still matter. We are still writing the story line by line, breath by breath, with more honesty than ever. And if this video touched something tender in you, I invite you to stay with us. Subscribe, leave a comment, share it with someone you love, because the next chapter we explore together may bring even more peace and a few gentle surprises. Thank you for being here. Thank you for still being here. The world is quieter when you stop speaking, but it's more meaningful when you start listening inward. Until next time, stay soft, stay strong, and remember this life, even now, is still full of light.